More work, guys. We got some more stuff to do. Panel truck's back there, but we got this back. The old chrome 36 two-door. We got this sucker back. Travis has been working on cleaning all the old black paint off of it. It had the black lacquer on it, but see if you can see it right in here. It's super hard to see, but there's a lot of little dots on there, and that's where the paint was popping and bubbling and trying to come off of there. So what we've got was we stripped it all down, and he's got most of the black paint off. He's still working on it, but he asked me to come get it and repair this firewall. So we've got a spot here where somebody tried to put, or they did put, hanging pedals on it and chewed up the firewall there, and then tried to fix it back by gas welding that piece back in, which didn't work out. And then we had a heater right there. So today we're gonna replace that square and that square in there so we can get it done and back over to Travis. We're also gonna fill in that free holey right there and some of these other holes up here that don't need to be in there. So we're gonna slick all that up, and I'll show you guys how to bead roll a little patch for that. So let's get going. Take a little closer look. I got another light on so we can see this a little better. You can see where that was really messed up. Somebody torched that hole, and that one was actually used with a hole saw, which is surprising because that one was used with a torch, and so was that one, which is nuts. I don't know why guys do that. Anyway, well, we're gonna fix those up. Let's get going. It's a little breezy today, so I hope you guys can hear me all right. First thing we're gonna do is we're gonna locate the flat spots. There's a little indentation right there. The X, I don't know if you can see it, but there's an X right here that comes across, kind of like this. It's an X, and there's one over here on this side, but it has a little small boss for this fuel line. So we'll end up having to remove that. But I'm just gonna find the flattest spot here. We have a patent tag here, which that we can eliminate that and come off of that, but we're gonna find the top of that X. I'm just gonna say it's like right in there. And that one's a little bit lower, but I think we're gonna be just fine with that one. So here's what we're gonna do. We got a little hole right in there that needs to be hammered and dollied back out. There's a hole, that's a hole, that's a hole. I can weld these up, no problem. But I'm gonna go ahead and probably just cut this whole thing out. Just past this hole here, meet that one, come down and take that whole thing out. So basically it's gonna be about like this, right through that hole. And then so we're gonna have to cut our new panel to fit this, which won't be a big deal. If you know how to weld and grind, you can pretty much do a patch panel. It's that easy. Let's see, there's one little deal we need to take off there before we put that on, but let's see here, across there. This lower heater hole here is going to have to be patched in because it goes well below what I'm going to replace. I'm not going to get into this lip here that goes around on the bottom of the firewall. I'm just going to cut right up to that edge right there. That will have to, you can see it now, it's going to be right at the bottom, so we'll have to hammer that around and clean it up, and we'll fill that in. There's a couple of little holders there for that padding, the firewall padding inside. Need to knock that off real quick before we get any further. before I go cutting, I am going to go ahead and take off this firewall pad. Just so you guys can see it right now, I want to show you where I'm going to be cutting at. I'm going to try to leave that existing hole there for the firewall pad. So we'll just go just on the inside of that. So there you go. There's that. That's what we're going to end up cutting out right there. Let's see how wide that is. That's just barely over 10 inches. Let's see. Yep, 10 1/8. That's a little wider down there. Oh, because I did go at an angle. I did go at an angle over here, so it is a little bit wider. So we'll just cut a square that is, we'll cut it 10 1/2 inches that way, and looks like 8 3/4. Yeah, 8 3/4 by 10 1/2. That's going to be our width. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut it just a little bit bigger. Maybe 1/4 inch, maybe a little less than that, maybe 3/16 bigger than our opening here. And then we'll make that thing fit that hole once we get her done. But see, we're eliminating 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 holes plus the 4 for that, so that's 16 holes. And there's a few up in here. Some of those are, that one's going to be need to be eliminated, so we'll take care of that one. These holes, they don't need to be there. Who knows what those are for? I might look it up, but those don't look like they're factory holes. That one I believe is. I think that one's the drain for the vent. That one needs to be touched up. There's 2 more up there, and there's a bolt out there, so we got a lot of stuff we need to clean up here on this, and it won't be too hard to do once we get going. So we just there's 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16 17 18 19 20 21. We'll go ahead and weld up the 2 for the patent tag, 23, plus the 12 down there, and then some more over here. So it's just going to be easier to just take out the whole section just like this and just replace that, and we'll know we'll have a nice a really nice piece of metal in there. We're going to use some thicker stuff. It looks like it's probably somewhere between 16 and 18. They had some different metal measurements back then. They had some thicker stuff, but that's probably 16 gauge, I think, maybe 18 gauge. But we'll take care of it with a nice piece in there. Get that bead rolled. Get one bead rolled for this to match that one, and put it in there. So we'll knock some of this stuff off, pull off the pad, and we'll get going on it. Okay, we still got a couple of things holding it. We got a couple of screws right there, which I don't know what they go to. They're coming off. No telling. Oh, there it is right there. That's what's holding it. And it looks like we got a couple of bolts right down there that we need to get. That's the gas pedal. And we need to take that right there off. We'll probably just have to cut that off with the grinder. There's the speedo cable. Get that right down there. There y'all. I'm gonna grind this bolt off. Get that off. Good. What's it connected to? Connected to that. I ain't using that bullshit. I'm not using that either. So we should be good to go now. Let's see, let's pull that off. We've got the gas pedal off there now. Yeah, this thing's pretty brittle looking. I was afraid that it might catch fire messing with it. Looks like, based on that, it looks like it caught fire here. Probably when they were doing that, patching that hole, that thing caught fire. I can smell it now. It smells like it's burnt pretty good. Just want to rip it off of that. Let's see if we can get that last piece off. And we're good to go. I try to find another one of those. One made more recently than 1972. Old original black paint. Last piece. All right, now that we got all that off there, get that out of the way. Bunch of junk down there now. Now we can mark this other side over here. Let's see here. This one's going to be a little smaller because we have to go around this little boss here for the speedometer cable. I'll leave a little flat space for myself so that when I get ready to weld it and grind it, it'll make it a lot easier to smooth it out. This one's going to be a little less involved. This stamping on this firewall is really almost faint. It's not real pronounced. I'll show you another firewall here that has them in there really good. But it may have been the last of the dye, the last use of the dyes they used to stamp this thing out, because it's not real pronounced. It's kind of flat and kind of faint. This part is good, but it's just the edges there. The edges will usually take most of the brunt when they're stamping that metal out. There we go. That one's more square. That one's a little oblong on the end. That's all right. That's going to be our cut line. We're going to cut those two suckers out right there. Then we can get after putting them back in there. And there we go. Got that one. There we go. A little bit of that stuff, see? Caught fire again. Right there, that stuff will sit there and smolder till you put it out. There you go. There's the two pieces we're gonna have to make. that right there is going to give us the opportunity to hammer and dolly some of these holes too. So we'll be able to get to them with a body dolly. Try to get a little bit of hammer and dolly action going on here. So I went ahead and ground some of these holes. A couple of these, I'm going to have to drill those out because they're like pushed through like somebody hit a nail or something with it. I'm going to use this Christmas tree to open it up, take that out of there. Alright, I got a couple of larger holes right up in here, a couple right in here, one right there, a couple up there. Oops. And I took this, I bought this Mac tool. It's a hole punch and a flanger all in one. And I punched some little round holes out from some sheet metal I had. And that gave me the perfect plug size for those little holes. They're a little small, but that'll leave enough space between it and the firewall to weld them in, and I'll just use my magnet to back it up. I've got a little small magnet that came off of a tweeter from years ago, and I use this piece of copper tube and I flatten it out. For the little holes, I can just back it up like that and spot right to that hole and fill it up. Them little tiny ones, those are like 1/8 inch. That works perfectly. If it does stick, which a couple times it does tend to stick a little bit, I just cut it off, flatten off another section, and keep on going. And I can always manipulate that around to get it up in there in a spot that might be kind of hard to get to. So I'm going to use that to get these all tacked in. I'll show you guys a close-up of this. Alright, so I got my magnet. There's my magnet. I'm going to put it right behind that little hole right there. See if you can see that. It's kind of hard to tell if it's focused or not. And then I'll take my little plug there, and that fits perfectly. That'll give me a little bit of space there. I can weld right around that and then blend it out, hammer and dolly it. So that's what I'm doing. I'm going to do those two there, that big one, and I'll have to get another piece for that. I'll probably cut that out of some sheet metal, and then I've got 2 more over here to do. So I've got a few more little pieces. We'll plug those all up. Now the very first tack, when you tack one of those on with this magnet, is going to distort your arc. So the very first one is going to kind of mess it up. Then I'll pull that magnet off, and I'll go ahead and finish tacking the rest of it. It'll be fine after that. Let's see if we can get this thing finished up today. We've got 3 more holes here, then we'll make these inner panels here. We're going to bead roll those. So we'll get those bead rolled. I'm just going to use a little scrap piece here to make a couple of templates on these 2 pieces so I can cut them out. See how close we can get it. Pretty close, so we just need to grind it now. So we'll set that there and we'll make another one. And we've got to make one for that janky hole there. There's that piece right there. That'll work. Ready to go. I'm ready to get on those, man. That's what I'm ready to do. What's going on here? I got this other firewall from a friend's car he pulled out. He was going full custom on his car, so he didn't need the firewall. They were putting a completely different motor in. But I grabbed this one from him. I'm using it kind of as a template because these two pieces I pulled out, you can see how bad that one was. It was terrible. And this one had a big old free-holey in it for the heater. So that's where it went. That's where it went. So I'm going to replace these. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my Bailey bead roller and recreate this X. I'm probably just going to make a symmetrical X, one flip-flop to the other side, because this is the fuel line mount. I'm not going to use that. I don't care about any of these other holes. Once I get it welded in and mounted, I can figure out my heater and then re-drill the holes for that, which are probably those two. So, but I won't need this big gigantor hole here. And I don't need hanging, these are from hanging pedals. People think those work great, and they don't. They're terrible. Stock pedals are the best. And we're gonna have to clean the backside of that off. We've made this a square now here. I just did some arbitrary numbers there, so nothing really to write down. Now I can cross those corners. Make the X pattern. Go. Now here's what I'm going to do. You see how this little metal piece kind of has, it's not just straight, so it's rounded right there in the corner. So I'll start carving out using a couple of little items like this cutoff wheel. It's got the hole in it. I can use that for an outside edge of that if I wanted to. Or I've got a couple of washers in here that are a little bigger. Maybe. So I can use a washer like that for the edge if I want to make it a little fatter. See if that's a little bit better. Take that washer and line it up there with the middle. mark those. Whoop. Just like that. Now this is going to look similar to original. Hopefully it won't be real noticeable. That's the kind of the plan here, is to just make it look similar to the way it was. That was a little tighter curve there. Just line it up. I'm just kind of shooting from the hip here, y'all, so there's nothing mandatory here. I'm just kind of doing it. Let's see what that one looks like. Oh yeah, that's what she does. Let's try that bit. I'm not sure, see if that looks a little better. Yeah, that works. Okay, we're going to go all around the outside of that with the bead roller. Go that way. Yeah, make sure you're comfortable with whichever direction. This has got a forward and reverse, and I'm either going to be going this way or I want to be going the other way. So I want to make sure that I'm comfortable with whichever way I'm going and I can see where I need to go. Turn that a little bit more. Got my foot pedal here, so let's go ahead and back her off, get her on there. I'm just going to line up that edge. This is going to be kind of tough to do. Let's see what we got here. I'm going to go pretty slow with it. Yeah, see, I'm going the wrong way because I need to be able to see where I'm at. If I was on that side, I could do the other direction. Okay. This thing's kind of got a toe guard there. It's come on, baby. There we go. Nice and slow. Yep. That's looking pretty darn good. Right there. Okay, so we'll just keep going, moving forward. You just kind of have to get comfortable with the pedal and the speed. And the slower you go, it works pretty good. You don't really want to go fast because it'll get away from you. And there we are. Okay. Right back to the beginning. Check it out, y'all. You see that? What are you doing over there? There you go. So there's my pattern. I noticed a couple of, I got a little short there on that one and a little short on those two right there, but it was because I was watching my line out here further out on the edge of this instead of where the middle of it, where both those two dies are touching. I was watching it out here, but I'm all right with that. That'll look good when it's painted black. We're going to put on there. Let's do the other one. Just my just my markers off. Yeah. Well, it's hard to get around them tight little curves, but see that one? She's done. So, got a little tweak to it. Straighten that out a little bit. There we go. And that's ready to go in there now. So now we can take them over to the car and we can slice these and fit them right in there. Start packing them in. Wipe them down with acetone. You can see it. That's what we're going to do right there. Just like that. What we're going to do is we're going to try to keep these kind of lined up where they're straight with this line right here on that edge. And that should work. Okay. Now, we got that. We can get that pretty close and drive that sucker home. There we go, and we're done. There we go. Y'all come back here and look at it, see what you think. It don't look too bad, does it? It looks pretty nice and straight. I think that'll work. And that's going to get painted black all in there, just like the rest of the car, so you'll probably never even notice that, honestly. Being just a little bit different. Had you on time lapse, which was dumb. Anyway, I got that one cut. It's a little close to my bead roll there. I wish I'd have realized it was that close. I would have probably just cut that right across through there with that panel on there. But we're pretty darn close. We're a little long on the bottom, so we'll grind that edge off. I just picked up all the freaking grinder dust down there with that magnet. And I had it up in there just right too. First little tack. Tack, tack, tack around. I like to use a screwdriver to kind of push it and pull it, but that's pretty tight right there. Use that magnet, maybe. We might have to get us a screwdriver though. Push it in a little bit. So all I'm doing is this edge needs to be gapped a little bit right in there. The side goes in, you can see me pushing it in there. Needs to be gapped right there so that it will flatten out. This side is in a little bit, but it needs a little trimmed up right through there, so we'll run that blade through there. And in the bottom also, we need to run it down through there, and that'll gap that. I use these 16th inch little bitty thin suckers, and I don't have any problems with them. I've only had one or two blow up on me, and it was because I got them in a bind. Now that goes in there. Now it's perfect. It fits in there perfectly. Now I just need to cut that right there. We are good to go. How's that look? Looks pretty good from where I'm sitting. We'll take a little bit more cleanup on this other side over here. It's just a little rougher, but we may just let Travis take care of that. It looks pretty good to me. We can send that sucker back to the body shop now. Now we can get all that black paint on there. He's gonna finish sanding the primer off of it or smoothing the primer down because it's on there actually really well. So I'll get this back over to Travis. He's gonna paint it black lacquer, and we're gonna put this sucker back together with a flathead and a 3-speed. So Firewall's done. Thanks for watching. Like, share, and subscribe. See ya.